Hello once again, Internet. My name is Nicole, and this is my husband, Ivan. And today we're going to be discussing books. Specifically, we'll be talking about Ghost Talkers by Mary Kowal. But first, we're going to talk a little bit about what else we read in the last couple of weeks. So, Ivan, you want to get started with what you read in the past couple of weeks?
Yeah, I finished off the Theft of Swords, which is the first book of the Riria Chronicles, or is it Riria Revelations?
Yeah.
Or the first two books, actually, since it's two books bundled in one. So I like that, and I think I got the second one. I'm planning to read that at some point, sometime soon.
Well, that's good. I have read, yes, the first three books, or I guess the first three bind-ups in that series.
Oh, you read all three of the. You read the entire first series, I guess.
Yes, the entire first series.
Okay.
Let's say it that way.
So you clearly liked it enough to continue.
Yeah, I liked them. I thought they were fun. I listened to them all as audiobooks. They were good audiobooks because they were kind of fun and didn't have to think about them too hard.
Yep.
Anything else? Have you read anything else, or was that it for you?
I don't think so. I think that Ghost Talkers, I started on the book for next week because it's long.
Yeah. Our book for 2 weeks from now is The Passage by Justin.
Cronin, I think. Something with a C.
Yes, by Justin something with a C. And so yeah, I haven't started on that, but I just used an Audible credit to download it because the wait list at the library was too long for me. I wasn't going to get it in time before we had to have it read by.
Yeah, like Hild, it's not something you can read in a couple of days.
Yeah,
it's long. I mean, it's not as. I think it's a faster read overall than Hild, but it's still long.
Okay. Yeah, so I'll probably get started on that soon, but I haven't yet. In the past couple of weeks, I've just been continuing on with series that I've already started, which has kind of been a theme for while we've been doing this. And I've had a couple series that I'm just kind of plugging away at. So
what are you reading?
I finished up a couple more books in the Vorkosigan saga, which I like. I don't know. I like those books. I don't think they're like amazing, but they're all consistently good. So when I don't want to think about what to read next, it's kind of good to have a series where I'm just like, I think the next one will probably be good, so I'm just going to keep going with this series. Works out.
Yeah, I've definitely thought about reading that. It's sort of a space opera thing, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll find it like sufficiently engaging. 80s sci-fi can get kind of tedious. I guess
they're pretty good.
Sci-fi. Okay.
I think they're good. I think you would like them.
Okay. Maybe I'll give it a shot at some point.
Yes. And then so that's pretty much all I've read. Nothing terribly interesting. And then I wanted to give you a couple options for my book for next in a month, so in 4 weeks from now.
Okay.
So I have two options. One is to go in a completely different direction from what we've been reading and to read a nonfiction book, which is called Medical Apartheid, and it's about the medical treatment of African Americans in the United States, like from like pre-colonial days to I think up to like Tuskegee. And then the second option I had was kind of more like in the vein of what we've been reading, and that's Central Station by Lavi Tatir, and that is a cyberpunk I think it's near future story set in like the first human spaceport on Earth, which is in Tel Aviv, so it's like a nexus for travel, and it becomes like this massive city, and there's like people who can hack into the network with their cyberpunkiness and things like that. So what do you feel like? Are you gonna go read the descriptions? Do you feel more?
Yeah, I'm reading through them right now.
doing something different or staying with what we've kind of been doing?
Because I considered reading Central Station, actually, probably, I don't know how long it's been out, but a while ago.
It hasn't been out that long.
And I must have seen it like advertised to me a couple months ago. I passed up on it at the time.
Yeah. It's only been out since May, so you probably like got an advertisement like when it was released or something. That's what I would
Probably.
guess.
I guess we can do medical apartheid.
Okay. Let's plan to do that then. I will put it on the appropriate Goodreads shelves so I remember to read it. Okay. So then in 4 weeks, which will be, so in 3 weeks, which will be October 23rd, that's when we're going to discuss the passage. And then in 4 weeks, which will be November 6th, is when we'll discuss medical apartheid. Okay, so with that, you want to talk about Ghost Talkers a little bit?
Yes. Tell us what this book is about.
So Ghost Talkers is it's a book set during, so it's a sort of paranormal fantasy book set during World War I, where we're following people who are part of or kind of adjacent to the British Army in France, and something that the British Army has set up is the use of mediums. And so in this book, mediums are like a real thing, and they can really talk to spirits. And so the mediums in the British Spirit Corps, all of the British soldiers are conditioned so that when they die, their spirits will come and check in to the medium corps. And then the mediums will get sort of useful intelligence information from the British soldiers who have just died on the front. And so our main character is Ginger, and so she's one of these mediums, and she's actually not exactly the head medium, but she's pretty high up in the organization because her aunt is the one who like actually initiated the project and like organized everything. And so Ginger, so pretty early on in the story, Ginger's fiance is killed at the front, and so he comes to check in, and then when he checks in, he realizes he kind of starts haunting Ginger because he doesn't know who killed him, and so he wants her to go and find out who killed him and how that's going to affect the course of the war. And so that's pretty much what the story is about. Is about her going out and trying to find her fiance's killer and help the British and things of that nature. So what did you think of the story, Ivan? I know you were conflicted. That's what you told me when we
Yeah.
talked about it.
I mean, in some aspects, I kind of liked it. In others, I don't know. Overall, I'd say it's like it gets a pass, but I didn't like it that much. I thought it was okay.
Okay.
Okay-ish. I thought it was meh.
Why did you think it was meh?
I so I it's essentially kind of a spy thriller, but doesn't work very well as a spy thriller. It basically, um, the Germans are trying to discover what the British are up to with their spy or with like their ghosts. And because the existence of people who can talk to ghosts and its use by the British military is being kept a secret, basically, by the British government. And everyone's supposed to think that the Spirit Corps is like, like your high school Spirit Corps, rah rah rah, kind of people, not actual talk to ghosts people. So early on in the book, we find out that the Germans know something about that and that there may be a spy operating from within British lines. And that's kind of interesting. And then Ginger's husband gets killed, or fiance gets killed off. And he actually gets killed by the spy. So the entire plot of the book is them trying to find this spy with I guess, additional tension being the fact that her dead fiance is now tied to the living world because he can't pass on because he got killed by the spy. So it's kind of a spy thriller, but I don't think it works very well as a spy thriller because it's sort of like a spy thriller combined with an adventure novel because they go to the front and they talk to people at the front and they try to find the spy and they go back and try to find this. It's kind of meandering, and I don't think it does a very good job of building up the tension or really the stakes of what they're trying to do.
That's interesting because I didn't really think of it as being a spy novel. Maybe.
And what did you think of it being?
I thought of it as being like primarily a romantic plot line between Ginger and her fiance. Like that was to me the primary plot line was the issue of like I thought their relationship was more of a driving force in the novel. Like obviously there's like the hunt for the German spy going on. Um, but I guess I kind of felt like the tension was more in her. I felt like Ginger's motivations were more geared towards her fiance and trying to help him move on as opposed to towards the war effort. So I guess it's kind of like I was looking at it from a different perspective and like what you thought was the side plot, I thought was kind of the main plot is what it
Yeah,
sounds like based on your description.
no, I mean I realize that, and I'd say you're right that the relationship between them and the sort of ghost paranormal romance type thing is the driving plot. I just don't think it should have been.
I was fine with that. I guess
I was bored with that very very quickly. Like around like the fifth time where he flips out and starts throwing objects at people that he thinks are trying to hurt her, I'm just like, okay, this again.
all right. So maybe this is more of a like matter of taste in that if you're looking for a paranormal romance book where yeah, you're looking for like a paranormal romance book with like a spy element, like a war element versus
A not
looking
very good one.
for a spy thriller book with like a romance element. Like kind of
Yeah,
depends on how you're gonna.
I mean, if you're looking for a spy thriller book with a romance element or a paranormal romance book with a spy element, you might like this book. I wasn't particularly looking for a
Either
spy
of those
thriller
things.
with a romance element or a paranormal romance book with a spy element.
Gotcha. Yeah, it is a little bit of a strange combination. I will agree with that. Like
It
spy
doesn't,
thriller and paranormal romance are not two subgenres that I thought would like go together.
and they don't. Basically, they don't.
I thought I thought it worked okay, but
Okay, it works okay. Um, but like the John Le Carre, this is not. Um, like that's why I thought it was ultimately okay. It was ultimately, I think, kind of like Arabella of Mars-ish, sort of a fun-ish adventure novel that's ultimately forgettable. That I think has elements in it that it didn't use to its full potential.
I thought the concept of the spirit core was pretty cool. Like
It's
I kind of liked the like history and the like backstory behind. I guess I liked the world building. I guess I don't know if that's quite right. Like some combination of like the magic system and the world building, the like development of that
yep,
idea I liked. And it seemed like it fit in very plausibly with the real world. Like it was magic that I could believe existed, which I guess is kind of the point of like mediums and spirits and things.
yeah. I think it fit well into the times, and it didn't. It's not Napoleon with dragons or Napoleon with spaceships. It's World War One with ghosts, and that's
Fairly reasonable.
fairly reasonable by comparison.
Yes. That is a thing people like actually believe in. Like people believe, some of the World War I trenches are haunted and things.
Yes.
So.
It's very character driven. I didn't find the characters particularly remarkable, but it's very character driven.
Yeah, I'd say I liked Ginger better than her fiance. Maybe it's just because he's dead and we don't get as much of his backstory. But I thought she was more well developed, and I just generally liked her better.
Yeah, as you do with your main protagonist of a book.
Yes,
I agree with that. Um, there's like a supporting cast, kind of.
yeah. Ginger travels a lot, so there aren't that many characters that like follow her throughout the novel. There's more characters who like pop up now and again whenever she's in a specific place. Like there are characters associated with specific places who she interacts with when she's in that specific place. But her and her fiance are the only two characters who like stay throughout the majority of the book.
One thing I will say is I didn't actually guess who the spy was.
Yes, that's true too. I did not guess that.
Or actually, I guessed who the spy was, and then I'm like, oh no, that can't be the spy.
I totally didn't guess.
Oh, you totally didn't guess? I was like, that is the most suspicious motherfucker in the room at first. And then I'm like, oh, never mind. That guy can't be the spy. And then it's the spy. And I was like, oh.
Should have trusted your gut.
Yeah. I don't know how much you want to go into spoilers yet regarding the spy reveal.
Okay, well, maybe we should talk a little more generally. Are there any other like major elements of the story that we haven't talked about that aren't the spy reveal?
Um, I guess she gets a lot of shit for being a woman. Ginger does in the
Yes.
military.
Well, it's World War I. Women weren't in the military.
No, I find that believable in most cases, and then in a couple of cases, no, because her commander, like the person that helps manage the Spirit Corps, is like the guy who leads the intel, really should know better. Like that guy is portrayed as almost scary dumb.
Yeah, but I think like sometimes you have to do that with the person who's like the person who's like I can't talk right now, in charge, the person who's ostensibly in charge. That's the word I wanted. The person who's ostensibly in charge, because if they're like if he was like totally on the main character's side, then like some of the difficulties she encounters would just like easily be resolved, right?
Right. So it seems like he's just like an asshole for the sake of driving conflict and not in a believable way in the world that he lives in, which kind of takes you out of it. Which
I would sort of agree with that. I think he's more of an asshole than he needs to be, but I don't I don't believe his character was completely unbelievable. I just think it was like exaggerated.
yeah, but too too much. I mean, if you are like the head of intelligence, you can't be dumb. Dumb heads of intelligence don't last very long, especially during wartime.
I don't know. I guess I don't know anyone who works in intelligence, so I can't really comment. Yes. All right. So you want to move on to spoilers and talk about the spy reveal?
Sure. I like the spy reveal.
We're going to talk about the spy reveal.
I was at first the character was like, I was like, this is my number one suspect for the spy. Like this has to be the spy. This can't not be the spy. And then as the book went on, I'm like, no, this can't be the spy. And then it turned out to be the spy. And I was like, wow. And I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, I didn't guess it at all. I thought the spy would be someone who we like totally hadn't met.
Oh, really?
Something. Yeah.
You didn't think it was any of the like, because it gave you a couple of options for who the spy was.
Yeah, it gave you a couple of options, and I thought the like red herring options were a little bit too obvious, so I didn't think it was them. I didn't think it was Reginald, who's the fiance's cousin, who's like
kind of an asshole.
Yeah, he's kind of like being paternalistic and like following Ginger around and trying to make sure she doesn't get hurt, but like in a really weird way that
in a
makes
very
him,
spy-ish way.
yes, that makes him seem really suspicious. And I was like, you're a little bit too suspicious. Like, this is too suspicious. Like like if you were actually a spy, you would be more subtle. You know, like if you're actually the spy and you got this far, I feel like you would be a lot more subtle.
Well, yeah, and he does kind of send people who try to kill her.
Yeah, but he didn't like he thought he was that's him
Right, but
being
you don't know
yeah.
that until the end.
Yeah.
Like, so in the middle of the book, you get the impression that he basically sent people to kill her.
Yes.
You don't know that he didn't actually want them to go and try and kill her until like the end of the book, and you find out, what the plot actually was and who was behind it. But in the middle, you're like, oh god, that guy totally sent people to kill her. So I kind of started thinking that he was a spy. Mostly because the book hasn't entirely been very subtle up to that point. So I'm like, okay, I guess it's just going to be a straightforward one. And also, there's this other guy who was the sort of,
Yeah, the like intelligence person who was sent to investigate the like actual intelligence person who was sent to investigate her fiance and
yeah,
make sure he wasn't doing anything suspicious for
because the intelligence command suspected that he was a spy because the actual spy planted evidence that, against him. So his partner, I guess, well, Ginger's fiance is a spy. He goes behind the lines and tries to find intelligence and stuff. And there's a couple other people working with him, and one of these people like turns up randomly in the middle of the book in a place where he's not supposed to be, and you're like, what's he doing here, etc. But eventually, you find out that he was actually just asked to investigate Ginger's fiance because they thought he might be a spy. And now we get onto the most suspicious person, the person placed ideally in the spy command, the person who had access, means, and motive to kill Ginger's fiance and was right there the entire time. What is it, Private Marrow?
Yeah.
Basically, her fiance's butler.
Yeah, his Batman, his like page sort of, except we're not in the medieval era anymore, but basically his page.
Kind of basically his pitch. At the time, British officers of a certain rank and above could have, personal servants.
Yes. I wasn't suspicious of him at all because I don't
Really?
know why.
Really?
Like in retrospect, it does seem kind of
It's
dense,
totally him. Come on.
I guess like initially I was thinking he was probably too young to like do some of the like physically do some of the things he's supposed to do. And then um yeah, I don't know. I just wasn't suspicious of him at all. I don't know why.
And the first time after the fiance's death, he comes in and he's like, I gotta gather up all of his books and journals and spy stuff. I'm totally not suspicious.
But that could have been totally reasonable.
No, that was super suspicious.
Okay. Well, okay.
He was very suspicious. I don't see how you could not suspect him.
I don't know. Now that we're talking about it, I don't see it either, but I did not suspect him at all. I was just like, oh yeah, he's just doing his job.
But
It's
and this is the good part, is you kind of stop suspecting him because he joins up with Ginger and her team to search for the real spy, and he saves her life on a couple occasions, and he flips some dudes because he knows Buritsu, which is, I don't actually know if that's a real thing or not.
I don't know either.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's in Sherlock Holmes, but whatever.
Yeah.
Yes. So he's very helpful to Ginger. So
And he's there along the way, and he gets like
I just
concussed at one point by a shell.
thought he was the sidekick. I don't know.
Well,
like, oh yeah, she gets a
exactly what he
sidekick.
wanted Ginger to think, and I guess he pulled it off with you.
Yep. Apparently.
You always suspect the butler. Come on. It's always the butler. So yeah, and just by his helpfulness and involvedness, and the fact that he gets his eardrums blown out in the middle of the book, you're like, okay, that guy, like, he's on the straight and narrow. I guess we're doing, I guess the author is not being sneaky about it, but then it's totally him. And he faked his own injury, and he like murdered a bunch of people, including like Ginger's friend from this spirit psychic corps.
Yeah, it got really dark there at the end. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
I
Like,
mean,
yeah, you rode at her and set off a shell in the middle of the trench.
yeah. Like it's so like at the end when you're like talking when they're like going through everything that he did, it's like, whoa, I was not a good guy.
No, he did some very bad things.
Yep.
I don't actually remember why.
Why? What? He set off the shell, or
No, why he was a spy in the first place.
I don't remember either what his character motivation was. Exactly.
Because that was another reason I kind of stopped suspecting him, is because he didn't seem to have any kind of link to the German military.
Other than that, he was German.
He was German?
Yeah.
When really?
Yeah.
When was that revealed?
Like towards the end, Ginger like sees some of his childhood memories.
Oh, I must have forgotten about that. But yeah, but not like throughout the middle till the end. You realize he was German. But
Yes.
yep. Anyway, so his goal was kind of to take out everything from the inside.
Yep. All right. Anything else to add, or we pretty much
No,
got wrapping up
no,
now?
I thought it was passable. Um, some parts of it I liked. Some parts of it were just sort of eye rolly. I don't regret reading it, and it's a fast read, and it's relatively fun. So it's okay. If she writes a sequel, I'm not picking it up though.
Okay. I liked it. If she writes a sequel, I probably will pick it up, but it's definitely like it's written as it could be a standalone. So, yeah. I would probably pick up the sequel and just to see how things go. But
I'd be surprised if she doesn't write a sequel. Her only other series is like this 8-book long paranormal romance Pride and Prejudice thing.
it's like 5 books long. I've read the
Oh,
first book in
whatever.
that series. I like that series too. Apparently, I like romance adjacent things, not actual romance things. All right. So I guess that's it for us today. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks when we'll be discussing The Passage. So have a good rest of your weekend.
Bye.
Bye bye.